Hey friends, Ginny D here, and a lot of us had D&D games either canceled or moved online during the pandemic. Personally, I was playing 3 ongoing D&D campaigns when COVID hit, and only one of them has survived the transition to online play. In a time when a lot of us are more hungry for human contact than ever, it sucks to lose D&D from our lives. But for a lot of people, moving a game online kinda sucks too. There are a lot of videos out there about the tech side of playing D&D online. Walkthroughs for various virtual tabletop platforms, tips on what webcams and microphones to get, stuff like that. And that is not what I want to talk about here today. Instead, I want to talk about the less quantifiable things that make playing D&D online suck sometimes, and I want to talk about how we can fix them and get back to playing. When it comes to interacting with people, there are a ton of unwritten etiquette rules that we all try our best to follow, like trying not to interrupt people, or laughing when someone says something that's clearly intended to be funny. In fact, a lot of interpersonal problems in tabletop gaming groups are rooted in failures of social etiquette. That's why my recent videos with tips for both loud and quiet roleplayers have already racked up tens of thousands of views. We know that practicing good etiquette at the table makes for a more fun game. Unfortunately, switching to online play also means switching to online etiquette. The rules are different online, mostly because the systems are different. For example, a quiet side conversation at a normal in-person D&D table isn't necessarily interruptive, but in an online call, there is no such thing as a side conversation. Whoever is talking is the main conversation, and no one else can speak until they're done. I know this all sounds very vague, so here are a few concrete examples of how to work on your video call etiquette. Practice recognizing interruptions. It's inevitable that eventually someone will try to say something and someone else will end up talking over them. When you notice that, call it out. I hit the door in the middle with my warhammer, not trying to open it, just trying to bash through the wood. Okay, roll an attack with your warhammer. 18. You swing your hammer at the door and with a brittle crunch, the wood splinters beneath it. Wizard, were you trying to do something? Yeah, I wanted to cast Comprehend Languages and try and read the script over the door. This is something that will just get better with practice. You have to learn each other's rhythms and learn how to adapt your conversational style to a new medium. The key is that everyone in the group needs to be aware of how much space they're taking up. This kind of call out is a gentle reminder that someone's been talked over. Use text chat. When I said earlier that side conversations can't exist in an online call, that isn't strictly true. A text chat is a great option for allowing those side conversations or quick questions or one-on-one chats in a way that doesn't silence others. Having a group chat or something similar as an additional line of communication can help make sure that everyone feels heard. Get comfortable with silence. I'm one of those people who often feels pressured to fill space in order to avoid awkward silences, but that urge can be extra destructive in the context of an online call. If you're anything like me, try and recognize when you're speaking because you have something to say, and when you're speaking because you're trying to fill a gap. Those gaps are actually helpful and healthy in online calls because they leave space for other people to speak up, especially if you're dealing with lag. Have a plan for those awkward you first moments. This is like the online equivalent of trying to go out a door at the same time that someone else is trying to go in a door, and you both just keep saying, after you, no, after you, until everybody feels weird about it. The goblin encampment outside. Oh, I'm sorry, you go. I'm sorry, no, go ahead. No, Rogue. It's okay. It's gonna come up, so have a plan for it. Maybe the plan is that the DM picks who goes first, or maybe your plan is that you nose goes for it and the loser speaks first. It doesn't need to be complicated, but having a rule can really save time and trouble. The goblin encampment outside. Oh. The goblin encampment outside Goldenfield has disappeared. This is a bit tongue-in-cheek because I recognize that our technology is more advanced than it has ever been, and the fact that we can all just video call each other from the devices in our pockets is some straight-up sci-fi shit. But when it comes to making technology work for a D&D game, there are a lot of stumbling blocks that we don't face in person. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, I don't want this to be a tech tutorial, but I do want to acknowledge that this is a big part of what makes online play hard, and talk a little about how we can make it easier. You will run into tech obstacles. Maybe someone's mic cuts out a lot, or there's really bad lag, or there's a weird echo coming from somewhere, or one person can't figure out how to get their webcam working. Whatever it is, I think it's a good idea to prioritize solving those problems early, because if you don't, they will affect gameplay down the line. Wizard, roll an Arcana check. Is that someone's dog? Ugh. That's a 6. I think somebody's mic is picking up their speakers. Rogue, we can't hear you. Don't be afraid to discuss solutions as a group and give yourself the time and space to troubleshoot and experiment. We've all been in that Zoom meeting where someone's TV is on in the background and everyone is too polite to mention it. Do not do that to your D&D game. If something isn't working, change it, research it, ask for advice online. Gritting your teeth and withstanding something will only create tension over time, tension that can eventually kill whole campaigns. Of course, you can't talk about technology in online D&D games without talking about virtual tabletops, or VTTs. You have a bunch of options, of course, and each has their weaknesses and their strengths. Personally, I've found a lot of VTTs to be complicated and difficult to navigate. If you feel the same way, then you are going to love today's sponsor, Shard Tabletop. Shard is a virtual tabletop and character sheet specifically designed for 5th edition D&D, and having tried it out myself, I can tell you that it is just so intuitive and straightforward. In fact, it's become my go-to way to walk a new player through character creation. I recreated Ashling's character sheet in Shard, and I couldn't believe how fast it was. Plus, we use a lot of homebrew content, and Shard makes it super easy to homebrew or modify pretty much anything. For DMs, Shard has maps with Fog of War, an encounter builder, an initiative tracker, in-app dice rollers, hit point trackers, and I think the most exciting part is that they are partnering with independent publishers like Kobold Press to add in a ton of useful content like subclasses, monsters, spells, and adventures. Shard works exactly the same on all platforms, so everything you can do on desktop, you can do on mobile. Like, I literally cannot express to you just how functional it is. If you want to spend less time on setup and more time actually playing D&D, you absolutely have to check this out. You can try it out for free on their website, which I will link in the description, and make sure to visit the new Shard Tabletop Kickstarter, where you can get a 12-month subscription and access to a massive library of content starting at just $20. Distraction is the mortal enemy of a social, imaginative role-playing game like D&D, which is why so many DMs have no phones at the table rules. Unfortunately, the level of focus that many of us are used to when we all sit down together in the same space can easily be lost with online play. Calling into the game means that all of the distractions from each player's home are present for everyone, whether that's children or pets that need taken care of, partners or roommates who want to remind you that it's trash day or ask to borrow your straightener or something, the doorbell ringing, whatever. Not to mention that playing online means that online distractions are right at your fingertips. It's really easy to think, I'll just check Twitter real quick between my turns in combat, and then next thing you know, it's your turn and you have no idea what is going on. Okay, that's 90-12 million damage. The awakened shrub shrivels up like that cute succulent that you forgot you put on top of the bookshelf 3 months ago, and it is dead. Barbarian, make a death save. 4? That's 2 fails. Wizard, you're up. What? Oh, I cast Fireball on the awakened shrub. Most distractions are really just a matter of boundaries. Obviously, some interruptions are unavoidable, but the best way to reduce, if not eliminate distractions, is to make sure that players block off that time the same way that they would if they were actually going to a friend's house to play. That could mean informing their roommate or partner or kids that they're not available for that chunk of time. Maybe it means that the party schedules regular breaks for players to let their dog outside or connect with their partner. As for the internet, well, maybe there's a reason that the acronym for Do Not Disturb mode is D&D. You can even download browser plugins like Stay Focused to block social media during game time if you don't trust your own self-control. If your party has a tendency to get distracted, this might be a good conversation to have as a group. Not everyone requires the same level of attention from their D&D game, but it is important that your entire group be on the same page. It's not fair to the other players if one player isn't giving the game their undivided attention. One of the biggest things I hear people complain about with playing online is just that the social dynamic changes when you're not at a physical table together anymore. I've seen this happen even with good friends who get along great in person and then just fall flat when playing online. Conversation can feel less natural, organic roleplay feels harder, the whole experience can just get sterilized once there are screens between people. Personally, I think a fair amount of this can be attributed to some of the things we've already covered. Tech problems like lag and adapting to a new style of conversation conversation. But I wanted to touch on a few ways to specifically improve your online dynamic, because I know that this is the deal breaker for a lot of people. Set aside hangout time. During in-person games, there's usually a fair amount of casual socialization before and after sessions, just naturally. Sometimes with an online game, that kind of thing can disappear. If you're not feeling connected with your group, it can bleed over into the roleplay too. I'd recommend specifically setting aside time at the beginning and end of sessions to just chat. Check in and see how everyone is doing, talk about non-D&D stuff, just catch up. For me, chatting with my friends before the session feels almost like stretching before a run. You're warming up your social muscles. Consider using video. I know a lot of people run their games online just with audio, and trust me, I get it. I have a messy room, I sometimes don't brush my hair for 3 days. I too look like either a washed out ghost or a dark, grainy gremlin, lit only by the flickering light of my monitor. But it's not a beauty contest. It's about allowing facial expression and body language to be part of the way that you interact with your group. We already lose a lot of those subtle in-person cues when we move to online play, and eliminating visuals can remove even more of the information that we subconsciously use to understand and communicate with others. Have an ongoing space. One of the cool things about playing online is that you can connect over D&D outside of the actual gameplay sessions. Having a Facebook group or a Discord server for your campaign can allow you to share thoughts and plans and memes and lore, all kinds of bonus material throughout the week in between games. If the whole party is active, it can allow you to get to know each other's characters better and deepen your connections with each other, and just feel more immersed in your world. Listen, I know there are a lot of ways that online D&D can suck, but it can also have a lot of benefits. I used to have to drive over an hour each way to play Ashling, and we only played twice a month. Now that we play online, I don't have to worry about travel time at all, and we play every single week. The pandemic has forced a lot of us into online play as the only option, but I'm very hopeful that we'll take this time to learn how to run and play really good online games. I honestly think a lot of people will come out of the pandemic preferring online play. More options for how to play means more D&D, and I'm sure that we can all agree that that is definitely a good thing. Thanks for watching, and make sure to not just subscribe, but press the little bell notification thingy, because I've been hearing from everyone that YouTube's recommendations are just totally screwed up right now. I've been releasing some great videos and getting like record low views, which is fun and cool and not stressful at all.